Well, today I'm going to put some of the finishing touches on my little pottery studio. So here's my pottery wheel, and we're going to have to put that together. I've had it for a while and couldn't quite figure out how I was going to finish it. So this is what a real pottery wheel looks like. You can see here I filmed this at the studio just so you could have kind of an idea of what it is that I'm trying to replicate. So I did make my pottery wheel out of clay and I fired it, but I have to put all of the finishing touches on it. So you can see here there's the little lever and the buttons. I painted it the same, or tried to paint it the same color blue. I didn't put any glaze right there on the very top where I'm going to be attaching the wheel. So now I'm going to be using some Gorilla super glue, and I'm going to be putting them on the top of the little pottery wheel. Now, unfortunately, this Gorilla super glue is almost out, so I'm going to have to work really hard to kind of squish out a few little drops that I'm going to need. So there you go. Now, I made the splash guard out of the top from a 4 liter milk container, and then I wrapped paper around it and kind of spray painted it with some white spray paint, and that's what I've done the splash guard out of. The wheel itself is a button with a little plastic doohickey. I'm not sure what that plastic thing is, but it makes it just the right height. So I glued that to the back of it. And now I'm going to glue it into the little splash guard so it looks more authentic, like a real wheel. I painted that button silver with some Testors silver paint so that it looks metallic. And boy, am I ever having a hard time even getting so much as a drop out of this little crazy glue stuff. Goodness gracious. I do have some more in the car, but I am just too lazy to go outside and go and get it. And plus, this glue is not cheap, so you really do want to use it right till the last drop and not waste any. So you just gotta make sure that you squeeze it really super hard in order to get the what's left in it. I really like Gorilla Super Glue. I think it works really well. I think I like it even better than the Crazy Glue brand. So I'm just gluing that down, and that's what it looks like. So I'm quite impressed. It looks like a real pottery wheel to me. And then I've got a piece of terracotta pottery that I'm going to be putting on it. So this piece is fired, but I didn't glaze it. So I wanted it to look like just a raw piece of clay sitting on the pottery wheel. So I'm just going to put a little tidbit of glue on the top. The only thing I really wish is I wish I had enough room in this little pottery studio to also add a little tiny kiln. And I was thinking about making one with like a tomato paste can, just a little one. But we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have room for that or not. So I'm just going to put the pottery right there so it's centered. And yeah, I think that looks really good. So I'm just reaching inside the little room box to grab a little tool, which I plan on gluing to the wheel so it looks authentic, like I'm still actually working on this little pot. And yeah, again, I'm having trouble getting the glue out. So but I don't need that much, thankfully. That's one good thing about this super glue. You need so very little, and it just works really well. But if you read the instructions, you really don't expect that it's going to glue down immediately. You have to let it sit for 24 hours before you get a perfect bond on it. So there you go. I've got it all just the way I want it. And if I leave it alone for 24 hours, it should be good. But you'll notice that there's something missing on this pottery wheel. You actually need the little foot pedal. So the foot pedal I made out of air dry clay, and then I painted it again silver with the testers, and I've glued it together, and now I'm starting to put things into the little shop. So what I've got here is the little bottles of glaze that I made in a previous video out of beads, and then a little label on them. So I'm just putting them all on my little work table, and so that all of my little products that I need when I go to make pottery will all be there, easily accessible. So I'm using museum wax just to mount all of these little items, and then that way when I move things around, I'm not going to be shaking everything all over the room. So museum wax works really well to mount things into a miniature scene, without having to permanently glue any items, because you never know, you might want to shift them around from time to time. So I'm just kind of sticking everything down, and you can see the little lump of clay that's on the table. That was already glued down in a previous project that I did here on YouTube. So I'm just taking my little poster that I made that shows all the different shades of glaze, and I'm going to hang that up on the wall, and just to kind of give it a little bit of realism. I think there's a few other things that this room box needs that I'm going to have to add to it. Definitely needs a clock on the wall, and yeah, I think I might have to make a kiln. We'll see. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going to use the museum wax to also add some pieces of pottery. Now the reason why I've kind of put this off for some time now is because I wasn't really sure exactly what pieces of pottery I wanted to add to it. I guess I was sort of thinking the more pottery that I do, the better I get at it. So I should wait until I've got some really super outstanding pieces to fill this little room box with. And then I thought to myself, no, I should just throw in everything that I've been doing. And the reason why is because even though some of these little pieces of pottery are really, really very wonky, they're still my first attempts. And I think that it just kind of shows the progression of how I'm getting skills at doing this. And the pieces that are not so good, oh well, that's okay. They're mine. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of pieces here that an accomplished person at pottery would have probably chucked in the garbage, but I've saved everything that I've done, and I'm going to put it all on proud display. Oh, well, I mean, I see that in some of the pieces there's mistakes that I'm no longer making. So I guess this little room box will also represent the progression of how I'm kind of mastering this little skill. And I have to tell you guys, you cannot imagine how much fun doing this little miniature pottery really is. I'm just having such a good time doing it, and I'm so grateful that I found this little prune box and put this little pottery studio together, because it's just a great way to display all this stuff that I keep on dragging home. I've been putting this off for a while, so I'm glad that I'm finally putting it together. Now I will have to make a couple of follow-up videos, because as I say, there's some things that this room box really needs, and lighting is one of the things that I haven't quite figured out. Now I don't have a problem making little lamps for a room or little hanging lamps for a kitchen, but I'm not really sure how commercial lighting would look. So if you guys have any suggestions on how you think I should light this little room box up, please leave a comment because I haven't quite figured it out. So I was almost kind of thinking of using like a string of lights like from the dollar store and maybe wrapping it around a piece of wood in the ceiling so that there would be like a lot of light. But yeah, I haven't quite figured it out. So you can see here, I'm just kind of putting some plates in the background first of all, and just kind of trying to fill all this shelf space. And believe you me, I have a lot of pieces of pottery, so I'm not going to have any problem at all filling all of these little shelves up. I just want to make sure that I'm putting in all my very first pieces. So just kind of tucking everything in there. So far so good. And these shelves that I built are pretty sturdy, so they're holding all of this pottery without a problem. So because I'm pressing these things in quite hard, and it seems pretty solid. So you can see that I'm just kind of trying to stick it down really good with museum wax. I mean, my worst case scenario would be to pick this little room box up and have everything topple all over and break, and that's not something that I want to see happen. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Now I got to figure out where in my house I'm going to keep it. Right now I've kind of got it on a little shelf between my dining room and living room, which is less than ideal. I might have to rearrange my fireplace mantle and get rid of some stuff that's on there so I can put it up on there. So, and yes, I've got a little piece of Tootsie Toy. So this little Tootsie Toy stool will work just perfect to sit on while you're at the pottery wheel. So you can see I've got the shelves somewhat loaded and kind of ready to go. So, and I've tried to kind of spread it out so all the colors are kind of spread out and they're not all dark pieces of pottery but just kind of mixed together. And as you can see, that little brown one, the big brown one on the bottom shelf, is pretty wonky. But I really like it. So, yeah, so, and there's some Jimmy feathers that I tucked in another vase. And then I did some terracotta pots that I put on pieces of wood and then wrapped in saran wrap, like just like they would be drying in a real studio. And I put a little pot that doesn't have any glaze on it on a little piece of wood on a work table. And then there's the little work table that we worked on earlier. And I've got my little Mako glaze poster up on the wall. And that's kind of what it looks like. So I'm quite pleased with that. And then here's the little pottery wheel with the little foot pedal glued onto the side of it. And I'm just putting a little Tootsie Toy stool behind it and tucking it in. And again, I'm gonna have to figure out if I've got room for a kiln. I think I could do it if I pushed like those little baskets and the box that has all the pieces of wood over underneath in the left corner. I could probably have room for a little kiln. I'm gonna have to get a little can of tomato paste because that would be the perfect size, I would think. So there you go. That's what my little studio looks like. So wouldn't it be neat if they were all real size dishes? Yeah, that would be quite the accomplishment. So for me, it's much easier to do miniature stuff. And then here's the little coffee mug that I made. And I made that on the wheel and put a little handle on it. So I'll put a little cup of coffee there. So when I'm ready to do my glazing, I'll have a little cup of coffee that I can drink. And yeah, so that's what she looks like. So, and I'll remind you what the outside looks like as well. So just gonna close it up. So I put the come in, we're open sign up. And yeah, this really does need lighting. You can see how dark it is when it's closed up. So it's Bourgeois Pottery Studio. Bourgeois meaning middle class. I think that that's really sweet. So, Yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way this turned out. I'm happy with the color, and you can take a little peek from the front door. If you were walking down the street, would you walk into this store? I think I would. So here's a better close up of what my pottery looks like. And as you can see, it's all very different. And the progression of some of the better pieces that I've made more recently compared to the pieces that I started with. The one with the little roses on it and the little vase in white. I think that one's a particularly good piece. So, but not all of them are. And you can see here on the top shelf, see my little gnome, little lawn gnome. I thought they turned out pretty cute. I made 6 or 7 of those. And you can see all the little pieces on the top. Yeah, I'm really quite happy with it. And I purposely, when I filled these shelves, I purposely found the wonkiest pieces that I made and included them. And I'm really thankful that I did. I kind of worried about it to begin with, but now I'm quite happy that I did make that choice. So I love the colors of the glazes. They're just so beautiful, some of the colors. So, and some of it you just kind of fluke off. You combine 2 glazes together, not really knowing what it's going to turn out like. And boy, you get some pretty creative colors. So, yeah, I'm really, really quite proud of this. This is probably the neatest thing that I've ever made in miniature, and I'm really happy with it. So, and can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. So, and there you go, a little clump of clay wrapped in plastic in the bottom, and my little mop that's in water that's made out of resin. My little pottery wheel. And there's Jimmy Page's feathers inside of that little vase. And then here's all my pottery that's all wrapped in plastic, that's stuff that's drying. If you enjoyed today's video and would like to help support my channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee. Just go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Lisa Dobo. I'd like to thank everyone that has helped to support my channel by going to buymeacoffee.com. It's appreciated more than you know, and it's what keeps my YouTube channel afloat. Thank you once again for watching today's video. I look forward to hearing your comments. Please hit that like button and tell your friends about my channel. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing because it really does help my channel grow. And thanks again, everyone. And once again, have the best day ever. And happy Easter, everyone.